Come to English Lit House literature course. In today's lesson, we are going to discuss another sound device used in poetry. Now, in these lessons, we have been discussing 3 sound devices so far. First one we discussed was rhyming. We discussed various types of rhyming. And secondly, we discussed alliteration used in poetry. And thirdly, in my previous lesson, I taught you assonance. Now, today's lesson, you can see the screen, onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. This word is somewhat strange, somewhat unfamiliar, but the simple idea of this word means sound. Sound. Onomatopoeia. Now, the definition of this onomatopoeia. Now, the formation of a word from a sound associated with what is named. Formation of a word from a sound. In this technique, we create or we make a word out of a sound, and that sound represents some object or some animal, something like that. That sound, the meaning, and the object are the same. The sound, meaning, and the object or that person or thing, animal are the same. Right. Now, that is simply what onomatopoeia means, but you do not understand if I say in this way. In order to understand this in a better way, we have to go into practical examples. Practical examples. Practical examples. Right? Some people say they are sound words. Onomatopoeia means some sound words. These sounds are taken from nature, our immediate nature. Sometimes from animals, sometimes from natural objects. That sound define that action or that animal or that object. This is what we call as onomatopoeia. Now let's see. Now we define that these sounds are taken from nature, and these sounds have some origin, birthplace. And these sounds tell us something about that thing, that animal. When you hear this sound, you know it's such and such, so and so. Now, for example, look at this word splash. Splash. When you hear the word splash, your image in the mind is water. Because this sound splash originates, comes out of water. Now, this side manifests, shows the birthplace, origin of that sound. Drizzle. Drizzle is another sound associated with water. Now, splash means sound made by something striking or falling into liquid. If something falls into water, splash. If rain slightly drops, if there is a small rain dropping, we say drizzling. Drizzling. The sound drizzle and the sound of the rain are the same, right? Meaning are the same. Now, belch. Belch. Something comes out of your stomach, right? Emit gas noisily from the stomach through the mouth. Belch, something like that. Belching. Mumble. Sounds related to mouth. Mumble, speech. Say something indistinctly. Indistinctly means unclearly and quietly, making it difficult for others to hear. This sound is indistinctive, not clear. Mumble. He mumbled something. Mumble. You speak something. Mumble. Something like that. Other people do not understand. Mumbling. Mumbling, the sound and that imitation and that way of making that sound and the meaning are the same. That is onomatopoeia. Bang. Bang. Collision. When something strikes another, you hear this sound. Bang. Bang. Right? Crunch. Crunch. When you chew some biscuit, put something into your mouth, some crunchy biscuits, you hear the crunching sound. Crunch. Crush. Crunching sound. Quite common in eating dry biscuits. Dry biscuits, cookies, cream crackers. Try it. Put something into your mouth and crunch, 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 crunch. Right. Air. Whiz. Whiz. Whiz means goes quickly through the air like a rocket. Whiz. Move quickly through the air with a whistling or buzzing sound. Buzzing sound. Buzzing is also onomatopoeia. Whiz. Now, splash, drizzle, mumble, bang, crunch, whiz are all onomatopoeic expressions. When you hear splash, you know it's water. When you hear drizzles, you know it's water. When you hear belch, you know some sound in the stomach. Mumble, some sound from mouth. You can immediately understand. Bang, loud noise, collision. Crunch, eating, munching. Whiz, moving quickly. Let's see some other examples. Now you see, swizz, swizz. If something goes quickly through the air, swizz, very quick. The sound comes out of that movement. Bray, bray. Bray is the rough noise, unpleasant noise created by animals, especially donkeys, mule, sound of a donkey, bray. Even that sound is the same, meaning is the same. When you hear brain, brain, you know it's a donkey or a mule. chirp. Chirp. Chirp means small bird sounds, uttering sharp, high-pitched sounds. Sound of the small birds. Then wobble. Wobble. Wobble means some sounds associated with walk, movement. A woman wobbles. You hear that sound. You can even imagine how a woman wobbles unsteadily. Unsteadily. Not a steady walk, right? Goes here and there, wobbling. Flip-flop. Another walking sound. Flip-flop. When you wear slippers, footwears, when you walk, you hear the sound of footwears. Flip-flop, flip-flop, flip-flop. Automatically. Flip-flop. Creak. My car creaks. It needs some oiling. Creak. Automobile or vehicles. Some machines. Creak. Make a harsh, high-pitched sound. Creaking sounds. Creak. Crash. Crash is another collision sound. A car crash. Crash. Collide though. Collide violently with one thing. Right? Crash. The car crashed into a wall. The car crashed into a lamppost. Even that sound crash, the sound comes out of that accident are the same. Crashing sound. I heard a crash. Kitchen. Now, in kitchen, there are onomatopoeic words. Sputter. Sputter. Little explosives. When you put something into oil, it's sputtering, sputtering. Sputter. In cooking. Right? Sputter. Now, in this way, you can see how onomatopoeic sounds come out of our immediate environment. Immediate environment. That sound itself tells us something about that object or that action or that animal. So and so. Now in poetry, how does a poet use this technique to add some pleasure to his poem? Some beauty, lyrical beauty, we call it lyrical beauty or musical beauty. To add some musical beauty to his poem, lyrical beauty. Now in actual poetry. Now, read these lines. I've never heard such a tittle-tattle as ghosts that groan and chains that rattle. Right? It's a poem from Raymond Wilson's Whose Company. Now here, groan, ghosts, groan, ghosts, groan, chains, rattle. Now groan and rattle are sounds imitated, taken from the concept of ghosts. Ghost. Now we know ghosts groan, chains, rattle, rattling sound of the chains, groan of the ghost. Right? Onomatopoeia. When you read this line, you can imagine approaching a picture of an approaching ghost with rattling chains. The poet uses this sound technique to create some auditory images. Now, in poetry, these sound techniques always create auditory images. Auditory images in the reader's mind. Now, the reader not only see the ghost visually, but also reader feels the ghost through these onomatopoeic sounds. That is the idea of using onomatopoeic words in poetry. Now, next lines, example from American poet Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. The cage bird sings with fearful trill. 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 Trill means a sharp noise emitted by birds when they are frightened. When birds are frightened, they emit or they make these trilling sounds. Right? Now, Angelo creates a picture of a bird, visual and auditory image of a bird. This bird is in a frightened mood, angry mood, right? Sometimes an aggressive mood, trill, fearful trill, very dangerous trill. For a better understanding, for a better taste, these sound devices are used. Daffodils from Wordsworth. Read the lines. Beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Fluttering and dancing in the breeze. 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 It means wind, air, cool breeze. Fluttering, moving. You even hear the sounds of moving. Fluttering heads here and there. Fluttering wings. Fluttering. The sound and the movement and the meaning are the same. Now, poet creates an image of dancing daffodils in the cool breeze. This image is visual, this image is auditory, and this image is tactile. Why? We feel the cold, comfortable sense given by breeze. Breeze. Sense of comfort, soothing effect. Soothing effect. When there is cool breeze, it gives you some soothing effect. Therefore, poet uses these onomatopoeic sounds in order to give that sense to his readers. To his readers. Now, I think you may have taken some understanding as a beginner how onomatopoeia is used in poetic line. Onomatopoeia. By analyzing these sounds, you can infer, you can take a detailed picture of image of the poet's idea. Poet's idea. Now, Onomatopoeia is also used in our everyday speech, in other ordinary writing, in creative writing. We use them. Even in ordinary speech, ordinary life, we use lot of so many onomatopoeic expressions, words. Now, there are some examples. The door banged in the wind. The door banged. Banged. When there is rough wind, the doors of your house, they go here and there violently. Suddenly they bang. You hear the sound. Right? The door bang. The cat mewed. When it saw the owner, mewed. Now that is the sound of cat's cry. When you hear this word mew, you know it's cat sound. Onomatopoeia. Mew. The moo of the cow spread through the grassland. Moo. Moo. When you hear that sound, you know it's a cow. If you have previous experiences, if you have pre-experiences, pre-knowledge about cow's cry, you know, it's a cow. The bees hummed or buzzed, even you can say buzzed, hummed among the flowers, hummed. The sound of the bees hummed. Dry leaves rustle in the rustle, move with this dry sound. Take some handful of dry leaves and crush them. You hear the rustling sound. Rustling sound. Rustle. The sound and the meaning and action are the same. He fell from the roof with a thud. Thud. You hear the sound. Automatically. Natural. Huh? These sounds, they are natural. People use those sounds as verbs, as expressions, as to express some meaning. Some little birds chirped among the bushes. Chirped. The sound of the little bird, high-pitched sounds, chirping sounds. Chirp. Now, chirp suggests birds. Chirp means birds. There is a snake. There is a snake. He's in the hole. He's in. If you have ever heard the sound of a snake, hissing sound, you know it's a snake. Hissing sound. Hissing is onomatopoeic word. She spoke in a shrill voice that pierced through my ears. Shrill voice. Shrill, very sharp. Ear splitting. Unpleasant to the ear. Shrill voice. Shrill. Shrill, onomatopoeic word. He growled at his wife like an animal. Growled. Rough noise. Like an animal. Growling animals. Like lions, like tigers, like dogs. He growled at his wife like an animal. Growled. Now, growl creates a sound image as well as visual image of a dog or violent or wild animal. That is the idea of using onomatopoeic words. Using onomatopoeic words. Now, I think you have some idea about onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. Now look at the word and the spelling. Remember spelling very clearly. You will make so many mistakes. Now, so far, we have discussed sound devices such as rhyming, alteration, assonance, and onomatopoeia. 4 sound devices. These sound devices are commonly used in lyrical poetry. Remember, not in modern poetry. In modern poetry, you will find them rarely, but not commonly. But in poems written in traditional format, you will find these techniques. Even today, you can use them in your creations. No harm. No harm. Try to write a little bit of poetic line using these sound devices. Now, you know, in modern situation, the sound devices are highly used in marketing, right? Marketing field. Some name of the cartoons, some name of food items use the sound devices. The sound devices, because children, the buyer, the customer will easily remember them. Now that is how the sound devices are used in real life situations. Find them out. Whenever you hear some slogan, some advertisement, some song, some marketing slogan, check whether they use these sound devices. That is the easiest way to be familiar with them. Right. Now, that's all for this lesson. We'll meet again in a new lesson of literature in our next class. Until then, goodbye to all of you.